We're going to take the North and never give it back.
So that's a good pick. You get the corner. I got to go bold, right? I got to go bold for this.
Yeah, she's got some nice long
Welcome back to the Unbearable Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Brad Barron. Make sure to like and subscribe if you are out there on YouTube. And also rate the show 5 stars everywhere that you get your podcast, especially Apple Podcasts for all those out there, and also Spotify as well. Everywhere that you get it, you can find it. Just simply search Unbearable Sports. How's everybody doing today? Today we're going to be breaking down the Chicago Bears versus the Los Angeles Rams. And quite frankly, this is another game that the Bears have a very good chance in. So we're going to break it down with the injuries, opponents, offense, and we're going to break down the defense, special teams, everything out there we're going to be breaking down for you. So make sure, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe, because on Monday we will be breaking down the all 22 like we did last time. I think we're going to see how much we can get done, because we did the offense only, maybe offense and defense. We'll see it out there. But Joe, my friend, what is good? Hope you have been well. And hey, man, we'll see what ends up happening. McVay versus Flus. That's the whole thing too. And we'll talk about this to not spoil a lot. Bears have the more talented roster. It's going to come down to the coaching. And there's also some new things about Shane Waldron that we'll talk about as well. But first off, let's get into the injuries and talk a little bit more about what's going on from the injury front. So with the Chicago Bears, if we look at our injuries, what we have right now, Kevin Byard just made the injury report today, did not participate with the back injury. Typically, Kevin Byard, knock on wood, has been one of the most durable safeties, one of the most durable players, quite frankly, in the entire NFL. Hopefully this is just a little blip. Mercedes Lewis taking his rest day. But 3 players have not participated every day, and that's Zach Pickens, Terrell Smith, and Darrell Taylor. Both were DNPs on Wednesday and Thursdays. But the players that had one day gone and one day back, Darnell Wright with the back injury that Shane Waldron has reported, Chris Morgan reported that it kind of flared up last game, and so ultimately was able to play through it. But we'll see if he's going to be able to play on game, during game time. Since he was limited today, I'm kind of optimistic. I'm kind of feeling good about that. But as we continue through, Keenan Allen limited both days. Kari Blasingame limited both days. Nate Davis, full participant on practice on Thursday, which is weird to say. Braxton Jones limited Wednesday and Thursday. Roma Dunze limited today with a hip injury, and Montez Sweat full participant today with an elbow injury that had him limited the day before. Only other person to watch out for, Andrew Billings with a knee injury, did not participate today and was limited yesterday. So that last day, just look to see what Billings is doing, see if Darnell Wright is out there as well. Is he limited? But then also Darrell Taylor, Terrell Smith, Zach Pickens. But still, those are just backups, right? Those are backups. And we've been without them. So at least it's backups, not starters. So hopefully what this is looking like is that we're going to be able to get Keenan Allen back, which is going to be huge for this offense, especially getting that big guy, because when we're breaking down the tape, we're throwing it to Carter. And when you're throwing that football out to Carter, it's not a pretty sight. He's shorter, he's smaller, never been a good receiver. He's been a punt returner. But at the same time, it does kind of show what they feel about a Tyler Scott or other things like that. But also too, if we flip over to the opponent's side, it actually is not that big, but we'll talk about the larger size of this, because their injury report, Cooper Kupp did not participate both days. And then Davis Allen, their tight end, limited participant today and yesterday. But also Logan Bruss, full participant with a finger injury for today and also yesterday. But it's not just that. It's actually much larger. They have a larger injury report that's just hidden because of everything. So their actual injury report, when you look at who's on IR for them, Steve Avila, on offensive line, Steve Avila, Jonah Jackson, Connor McDermott, Joe Noteboom, KT Leviston, all those IR or PUP list, not playing. Then you go to the defensive backs, John Johnson, Darion Kendrick, Trey Tomlinson, Darius Williams, wide receivers, Puka Nacua, at tight end, Tyler Higbee. And then like what we talked about with Cooper Kupp, most likely not going to be playing, and defensive tackle Laurel Murchison. They have been plagued with injuries. This is not the same team that when we break it down, not the same team. But that's where the Bears should have the upper hand on this team. And also, we'll break down the Shane Waldron stuff because that's also another little itch that maybe this offense can start to put it together. Also, my friend Jason, what is good? Bear down indeed. Keenan Allen being back would be a huge boost. I agree. And quite frankly, I actually love your misspelling. Cannon Allen. I'm hoping he looks like he shot out of a cannon because of that heel injury, because hopefully he's at least back, looking healthy, able to kind of run out there. So good misspelling out there, Jason. But also, let's talk a little bit about this opponent. What we're looking at, according to DVOA, 24th opponent versus 25th. I believe the Bears are the 24th. I should have actually written that down, but I believe they have the Bears ranked 24th, Rams ranked 25th. So battle of the lower tier teams, according to DVOA, but also according to their records as well. Even though that the Rams just pulled off a huge upset over the 49ers, it was really an inspired effort to try and beat them. But also when you look at who they added and who they removed this offseason, it's quite interesting because when they drafted, I kind of like their draft. Jared Verse, who I had as defensive end 1, who has actually been very, very good. They drafted number 19 overall. Braden Fisk was kind of a little up and down on just because of his shorter arms. He's that defensive tackle out of Florida State. Very speedy, but short arms. Blake Corum, they drafted the running back, and Cameron Kitchens, the safety out of Miami. Brennan Jackson, defensive end, Washington State. So some of these people out there, okay, right? And overall, I like their drafts. We'll talk about a little bit of these a little bit later on, but also some of the additions that they made. They let Carson Wentz walk, but they bring in Jimmy Garoppolo. In my opinion, that's an upgrade. No matter what people say about Jimmy's still a good quarterback. Carson Wentz out there, he really did kind of lose a little step. They lost Royce Freeman, but yet again, running back, they bring in Blake Corum instead. Wide receiver, Ben Skoranek, let him walk. But centers, Brian Allen and Coleman Shelton, they let walk, but they brought in guard Jonah Jackson and also tight end Colby Parkinson. Defensive tackle Aaron Donald obviously left. Safety Jordan Fuller left, and Akella Witherspoon, a cornerback, left. But when you look at additions, Tre'Davious White, Darius Williams, and Cameron Curl as kind of the big name acquisitions that they ended up adding. But ultimately, this team, like we said, is plagued by the injury bug. That ultimately is the big downside of the Los Angeles Rams, as someone that a lot of people thought that this Rams team could really kind of do something. They really haven't looked that fantastic. But let's talk a little bit about the Bears offense. And let's preview this Bears offense, because I teased a little bit about the whole Shane Waldron thing, because they're going to be going against a defense that has blitzed the 4th least amount at 16.8%. But also, too, they are ranked the 31st defense according to DVOA, and the Bears, 32nd. So the battle of the bad offense, bad defense going against each other. They also have allowed 425.7 yards per game, which is the most. Also, second worst expected points contributed to the run game, and second worst expected points contributed for the pass game. What does that mean? It means even the advanced analytics, like we talked about with the Colts, the advanced analytics didn't hate the Colts' run defense. They were like, okay, they're okay, but they just went against teams that were running the football, and it's a short sample size. They're saying, no, this defense is bad. And also, 3rd most rushing yards per game, 4th most passing yards per game, and also where he can hit them, 39 missed tackles, which is the most in the NFL. 29 is the next closest. So little fun sacks. So here, I was looking at sacks out there. Another fun stat about their sacks, 4 sacks, which is the 3rd worst, but also don't let that slip your mind, because 27.4% pressure rate, which is good for 8th best. So they're still able to generate some sort of pressure, even though if you just look at the sack number, and you go, okay, 3rd worst, But when you look at their pressure rate, they're still able to get pressure on the quarterback, even if they're not blitzing, because Jared Verse has been good, Kobe Turner is good, and we'll break that down too. But also, if we flip over to what they said about Shane Waldron, there was actually a discussion this week. So Shane Waldron was praised the Bears leadership group, specifically DJ Moore, Mercedes Lewis, Cole Kmet, and Caleb Williams, for the conversations they had with Waldron and coaches the Monday after the Colts lost. Players and coaches have reportedly talked about a need for better communication and everyone getting on the same page offensively. Why has that been an issue for the Bears offense? Well, Mercedes Lewis said, without pointing out certain people, I think there is this game. Man, you either expose others or you get exposed. You don't have the room to not be doing your thing. When you see guys see a great catch, it took all 11 for that to happen. When you see a touchdown, it took all 11 to see that happen. That's what it's about. Making sure that we are all on the same page with where we're supposed to be and what we're supposed to be doing. That's really it. It's a complementary sport. This is why you love it. It's always a constant grind to find that balance. That's what we're focused on now. So that's from Courtney Cronin that covers the Chicago Bears. Just reading that off, whole bunch of stuff that we had to read. But let's unpack that, right? Let's unpack that. And also, my friend Ron, what's good? Claws up indeed. Hope you're doing well, my friend. And yeah, Joe saying too, Purdy was heavily pressured last week. Yeah, like even though they only have 4 sacks, this team can still kind of put it on you. So this isn't just a cakewalk when you're talking about the defensive line, as we're going to break down. But let's talk a little bit about that Shane Waldron comment, because you see people and the people that are not playing properly. And I'm thinking about who wasn't playing properly, who wasn't in the right spots, who hasn't done great. And I think about like a Gerald Everett. Gerald Everett has not played great. Or even like a DeAndre Swift. Like we said, when we were watching the tape, I go back to everyone's kind of moving left. And who's moving right? DeAndre Swift. And then no one's there. And so then he gets tackled because if he was going left, he would be open. So I'm curious if this does actually mean more snaps for one of our favorites, Roschon Johnson, because who are the players that are not in the right positions, that are not doing the right things, and that just aren't doing a great job? And DeAndre Carter, he was put in a position to block. So that's why I'm thinking maybe not him. But also another person that I kind of think about is maybe on this offensive line. And when I think about this offensive line, I kind of go maybe Tevin, because I remember when watching the tape, Tevin does get out of position a decent amount. So it's all speculation. It's all, okay, who are the people that they're talking about? Who are the people that aren't kind of lifting their weight and pulling their weight out there? But there is something that's off. And when we've watched it, it's some of those players that we've talked about. I don't think it's Braxton. I don't think it's Darnell. I mean, Coleman Shelton is trying his darndest, but he's just getting blown up. He's just getting pushed back. So, and maybe Coleman ends up having a game of his own because him going against his old team. And he's like, you know what? I'm not this below average guy. I'm so much better. But let's preview the Bears offense though, because like we said, lots of different pieces about this defense. Because when you flip over to the defense, there's just a bunch of random people that they have out there. Like we said, they've been plagued with the injury bug. And with this too, Cam Curl's not even having the seasons that Cam Curl used to be having out there for Washington. But still, when you look at these cornerbacks, this cornerback group is not good. This is a way that you can attack through the air and really take advantage of them. Lake, their slot corner, not great. 89th ranked corner, according to PFF. And Durant, their other corner, 70th ranked from PFF. And Tre'Davious White, looking a little long in the tooth. Looks like the reason why the Bills wanted to move on from him. He's the 87th ranked corner according to PFF. So the corners, the coverage has been down. So that's where you see them allowing the 4th most passing yards per game, as you can pass it on them. But like we said up front, they were able to get some pressure on the quarterback. Yet again, Jared Verse, They're 22nd ranked defensive end out there. One of the best run defenders according to PFF, but still the guy's able to kind of get pressure. He's going to be going against Braxton Jones, and that's going to be a big matchup for me to watch. Why? Well, Jared Verse, his big claim to fame is power. What is Braxton Jones' favorite thing to do? Be moved backwards. So this is where Jared Verse could really be like kind of play into that weakness with Braxton Jones. Or maybe it just goes to him normally because that's what he normally does, right? But that's going to be a challenge, even though he's a rookie. Look out for that. And then you look on the opposite side, Young, their defensive end, is another person, Byron Young, that we liked coming out of Tennessee, but he's more of that specific pass rusher. He's someone that's trying to get around you, and he's going to be going against his former teammate Darnell Wright. So hopefully Darnell, he's got to be fast. You got to be quick in order to block Young. He's very fast up there. But then on the interior, you have Kobe Turner, someone that we really liked out of Wake Forest, having a down year since he's not going with Aaron Donald, but still, Turner is a hand fighter. He's someone that's going to use his hands to try to beat you. He is a very, very, very smart player. And then also Braden Fisk, a more quick, agile player that might give Matt Pryor a little bit of difficulties because Matt Pryor, bigger, slower type of an offensive lineman, Fisk lighter, which also might play into the whole Coleman Shelton thing. Coleman Shelton being more of a lighter center. Maybe that does well with Braden Fisk. But they have speed on that right-hand side with Fisk and Young, something to definitely look out for. But that's how they get pressure. That's why they try to just go with 4, and they try and dominate you that way. But that's where we have Caleb Williams. That's where we have this offensive line that you're hoping that now, if they're trying to get their head out of their butt and try to do something smart, hopefully they can hold up, which I feel good about. And especially with getting Keenan Allen back, we saw on tape how much they're trying to get the slot receiver involved, that third receiver in play. And I think that's phenomenal because, yet again, they're trying to throw it to DeAndre Carter. He's short, and they're trying to throw it to him in traffic. Keenan Allen can make those plays. Keenan Allen can shake his guys. So this is just one more person that can break the coverage in front of him. So I'm really pumped about having Keenan Allen back, and I think this passing game, you're going to see it start to click. And like we've said too, Cole Kmet, the best friend of a quarterback can be a number 1 wide receiver and a tight end. A tight end is an easy player to throw to, so try to give it to Cole Kmet. If they're throwing up a lot of zone, Cole Kmet was that zone beater last game, so look for him. So, this running game, let's talk about it. This, like we said, they give up a lot of rushing yards. This is a team you can run the football on. But can we run the football? This is where, if you want to talk about smacking Shane Waldron, if you want to talk about making sure that this is correct, that this works well, this is what you have to do. And put in Roschon. Like we said, Roschon looked better than Swift. The PFF grade backs up what our opinions of Swift are. 49th out of 51. He just doesn't seem like he is running the same scheme. And like we've pointed out, running the wrong direction or stopping and trying to go back, because that's what he does. He tries to make the big play happen. That's why when he's had good blocking, he's able to kind of amplify that, because it's kind of like Le'Veon Bell, where he's using the blocking in front of him. That's what Swift's trying to do, trying to make people miss, trying to do things like that. But he can't, because he needs to run through the tackles. It's more of this scheme does not seem to be great with Swift. Put in Roschon. All we need. We don't need we don't need a running game that's averaging 6 yards a carry. That would be great. But we don't. We just need the basics. We just need 4 yards a carry. We just need to not be one of the worst rushing teams out there. Put in Roschon, get it going, and really start to try and get something going. So I hope, part of me hopes that Swift was one of the people that they were talking about, because yet again, when we were watching tape, he was one of those people that was kind of bothering us as we were watching that. So let's talk a little bit about this offense. And I'm curious about you guys. What is your matchup to watch for? So one person versus another that you are looking out for with this offense. Because to me, the matchup, I already talked about it, is Braxton Jones versus Jared Verse. I think that's going to be the key matchup because Jared Verse has been the best player. PFF agrees with it, and it's also what I believe. And like I said, his thing is his power. That's what Jared Verse does. But that's also what Braxton struggles with. That to me is going to be the story of the game because also that is another very good run stopper, very good pass rusher. He can be someone that, I wouldn't say he's elite or anything like that, but he's a very good defensive end that can cause, like, when you have a bad defense, he's that guy that you need to keep an eye out for. And also, J2K, my friend, hope you are doing well. Hope your week's been going well, my friend. Nice to see you out there. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about the next thing, the X factor on this offense. And if we're talking about the X factor on this offense, I'm going to call this out. Oh, man, because the X factor is going to be the person that kind of takes it to the next level. And I have a couple people spinning around in my head right now, right? Rome Odunze, because we see when Rome Odunze is able to beat this guy, now Keenan, now it's like Keenan can be doubled, DJ can be doubled, other things like that can happen, or Keenan Allen. And I'm actually going to say Keenan Allen. I think that this might be a little easy. Keenan is my X factor for this game because of him coming back from the injury. It's kind of like a comeback player of the year that I'm giving out to him. Just seeing how much that slot was being used. And also, Caleb getting more adjusted to this offense, getting more adjusted to the NFL, seeing Keenan Allen out there, that's what I'm going for. So that's my X factor. And J2K saying, I just want Rojo to get 20 carries and see if this run game can come together. Amen. Amen. That is my thing, is that like, yeah, I agree out there where Rojo is going to be that guy. Like, just feed him. And because he is the person that, yet again, that just run straight. Hashtag just run straight. I need to get us some t-shirts. Like, just run straight. That's all we got to ask. That's all we're asking out here. Just do the simple stuff. And I remember like playing football and one coach said, he's like, what happened? He's like, always get 4 yards. He's like, what happens when you get 4 yards? And it's like, what? And he's like, well, what happens? How many yards do you need to get the first down? 10. He's like, if you just keep, like, if you run and you fall forward and you get 4 yards, you do that 3 times, we get another first down, right? We only ran the football, but it was you just keep pounding the rock, just keep getting 4 yards, and that's what you got to do. So that's the thing. Joe's saying Rojo is his X factor. And Coach Steve, speaking of coaching, what is good, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Hope you're enjoying the season as well. X factor saying should be the run game. Yeah. If we can just get that thing going, we're all going to be happy. Us as Bears fans, we love the run game. And that might be why we're frustrated, even though like the passing games go, like we had 360 something passing yards, but we're still like, our running game, we can't have that going because it makes the game so much simpler because you're like imposing your will on them. So come on, we have to impose our will on this Rams team. So let's flip over to the side that has been imposing their will, which is our Bears defense, ranked 8th by Football Outsiders. I mean, I'll still call it Football Outsiders DVOA. No offense to like Fantasy Pros or whoever bought them. And the Rams, which is ranked the 17th offense. So their offense, okay, they have Matt Stafford, they have Sean McVay, they're gonna be good. And this is where it comes down to coaching. Sean McVay is a very good coach. This is no stretch of the imagination. He's a good coach. He's going to have this team prepared, no matter who's the wide receivers. And if you look at the PFF grades, it backs that up. You have Robinson, Demarcus Robinson, 39th. You have Whittington, who is a rookie out of Texas. Jordan Whittington, who I watch a lot of Texas games. I'm a Texas Longhorn fan. He was okay. Like, he was solid. He was good. But I wasn't expecting him to be the 15th ranked wide receiver, according to PFF. And then also Tyler Johnson, another player that I thought had a lot of potential coming out of Minnesota, someone who's bounced around teams. But yet again, they're making this happen. Why? Scheme and Matt Stafford. As long as you got a good scheme, you're able to kind of get a lot of these players open. But you look at this offense is weak. You look at Jackson, their left tackle, 70th out of 74, according to PFF. Then you have Logan Bruss, their left guard, 45th out of 67. Bo Limmer out of Arkansas, who a lot of us liked, myself included, as kind of a day 3 guy, 57 grade, which is 28th. And then they have Dotson having a down year, the guard, 60th out of 67. And then Havenstein, 71.4, being the only person with a positive grade at 22nd. That's the thing. This is not good, and like J2K is saying, you have Avila who's injured, and here I can pull all that up. Avila's injured, Jonah Jackson's injured, Connor McDermott, Joe Noteboom. All these offensive linemen are banged up. This is the thing. And like Tribe out there, what's good, my friend, saying Stafford's still best NFC. Like, this is the thing. They still have Stafford. And even though that there's stats out there that show, based on how the offensive line plays, that's exactly how, it's like an exact correlation to how successful Sean McVay's offense is. Every year that the offense seemingly doesn't work, it's because the offensive line doesn't work, which makes sense. Like, yeah, no duh. But no other offensive mind had that much correlation to exactly how the offense plays. So you expect the offense to not be as great as it normally is, but it's still a Sean McVay-led offense. Even though that you're not having a lot of the wide receivers that you're accustomed to, they're still going to be trying to get it out. And I think Stafford only has 1 interception. So it's going to be a little bit challenging. Also, the 4th highest pressure rate is what the Rams have. So they allowed the 4th highest pressure rate and 0 scrambles. Stafford's old. Stafford's not going to move. Stafford's never been the mobile guy. But I just thought it was funny because when you look at it and you look at pressure rate, everyone has like 20 scrambles, 15 scrambles. Rams with a whopping 0 scrambles. He's going to stay in the pocket. You just have to go after him. Just pin your ears back and hunt, boys. Like, that's what you got to do. Also, 4th worst running game at 78 yards a game, and 3rd worst rushing average at 3.4. So this is a Bears-style running attack because their front 5 has not been able to get any movement. They've not been doing well, and so Kyron Williams has been having a down year, even though that PFF is like, hey, he's still good. He's our 21st ranked running back. This offensive line just sucks. They can't do anything. But also they're the 9th best passing attack with 231 passing yards. Like we said, they're going to be getting the ball out and they're going to be trying to throw the ball. But we already know our defensive backs are really good. I'm looking at these defensive tackles, and Bears Bones, we're on the same wavelength, my friend. With Gervon Dexter could do some damage up front. And also, this is where I'd love to have Darrell Taylor here to be going on that outside. And yeah, he's a backup, like we said. But man, if you get Darrell Taylor on that outside, whew, he could have another 2-sack game if it is, because that left tackle spot is weak. And I would love to see a DeMarcus Walker game, because he's slowly becoming, or quickly becoming, one of my favorite players, just because he came back from such a bad season where it's like, why do we have him on the team? And he's like a vocal leader, and it's like, how are you that vocal when you're not backing it up? And Walker's like, you know what? I'm going to be the 31st ranked edge defender according to PFF. How does that sound? It's like, thank you, DeMarcus. That's exactly what we want out of you. So he's living up to the contract right now, which I did not expect myself to say. So Walker is another person that could be having a good game on his primary side, going against that left tackle and then shifting to the inside. And also, James, my friend, what is good? Hope you are doing well out there. Hope your week's going well, my friend. And let's see what else, because Sweat going against their right tackle, that's going to be okay, but it's going to be everybody else. Everybody else but Sweat needs to step up, which they have been. So this could be a Gervon game. This could be an Austin Booker game. Seeing Austin Booker is slowly getting introduced into the lineup more and more and more, and he's looking better and better and better. So it's nice to see him stepping up. Maybe when we do a film breakdown for defense, we'll just watch Austin Booker, just because we love us some Austin Booker. But let's I think that this pass rush is going to eat. I think this pass rush is going to do great. And I think that they're going to be turning up the heat on Matt Stafford. And maybe they're just going to be trying to throw some short completions because this defense is good. It's a good defense going against a bad offense. It's going to be fun to watch. Or I shouldn't say bad. It's middle of the road, all things considered, because they're just going to be able to move the ball. And like we said, with the running game, we should be able to handle because bad offensive line, we should be able to hit our assignments and do well. But yet again, look at Andrew Billings. If Andrew Billings and Zach Pickens are not able to go, that defensive tackle group is going to be a little bit light. And that's why you saw them also bring in Bell, our rookie out of Tennessee State last year that we drafted. He bounced around. He's now on the practice squad for the Bears. So they picked him up, and also a lot of Bears fans and Bears players seem to really like him. So it's nice to see someone that everyone likes in the locker room just coming back to the Bears. But also James saying Edwards looks like, yeah, he's got the low rating. Edwards hasn't been the same, and I think that they docked him too because of his tackling. He hasn't tackled consistently, but hey, it's nice to see Edmonds getting up. It was just nice to see both of them up. So Edmonds with the 69.5 grade, 22nd, and Edwards with the 52.9 grade, which is 58th. So like to see that up just to see him and Tremaine Edmonds do well, right? They both need to be good. They both need to be up there, my friend. But also we got some people out there. Taco Man, what is good? My friend saying should have paid Monty. Wow, I've not seen the Monty stuff out there in quite some time. And Ghost Judah Tribe, what's good, my friend, saying they'll be on the field all day and will tire out because the QB sucks. But yeah, it's going to be crazy. So let's see with this defense. Let's talk about the matchup to watch for and then going into the X factors. Because the matchup that I'm watching for the most, I kind of hinted a little bit about it because I don't think that the wide receivers are going to be a big matchup. I don't think the running back is going to be a big matchup. You have Parkinson, who is kind of bouncing around a little bit. Parkinson's just kind of like an okay tight end, like nothing crazy. It's going to be Jackson versus, I'm going to say Darrell Taylor, because I think that left tackle position, that's where the Bears are going to eat. That's where the Bears are going to be dominant. That's where the Bears are going to be trying to rush off. So in both of my matchups to watch out for is left tackle versus the defensive end in front of them, because that's their strong side on their defensive side with Jared Verse, and on our side, that's their weak spot. So if we're able to get a lot of pressure on the blind side of Stafford, that's going to be pretty big. But when we're talking about X factors, oh man, because I could go defensive line again, just because defensive line is something that is going to kind of step up and be, I'm going to say DeMarcus Walker. I'm going to say DeMarcus Walker as my X factor. I was tempted to say Byard or any of these other secondary players to really kind of ball hawk and try and pick a ball off. But the reason why I'm going with Walker is because Walker's been very good, but I think that this could be a game that he takes it out and brings it up to the next level and just consistently gets some pressure and gets a multi-sack game. This could be a game, that the DeMarcus Walker game. And especially if you have an Andrew Billings that's banged up, I could see them trying to play Walker more on the inside so that you can give your other defensive tackles and Billings a little bit more of a rest. So maybe Walker plays a little more on the inside, and because he's been getting the most snaps out there at the defensive line spots. So that's the big piece. So yeah, Billings is a little banged up. And then J2K saying too, Billings is the X factor with the sack and some TFLs. And Judah Tribe saying, I'm just saying, bro. Yeah, you are. Like, you were just honest. You're honest with it, right? Because we haven't been great. So that's the thing. But let's go into the special teams review that everybody wants to talk about. Let's talk about the special teams, because this year for the special teams review, what I just want to see, Cairo, you keep on doing your thing. Carter, try to keep on taking that next step and like show that explosiveness. Nobody drop the football. And Velus, stay on the sideline. The only other thing I could say is Torrey Taylor, he shows some, right? but I feel like I feel like if he's a 4th round punter, it shouldn't be like, oh man, look at that. Like, or like us trying to find it. Like it should just jump out to us. That's where Tori, pin them. Like I want to see, like, when we punt, unfortunately, like Judah's saying out there, we have punted. Our quarterback, we have not been able to get things to click. So to me, I want to see the punting better. I want to see it pinned down. I want to see punting being a weapon, because it hasn't been a weapon. So that's what I'm kind of pushing for. I want to see punting being a weapon on the lakefront. Bears versus Rams. That's what I'm hoping for. But let's talk about who has the edge. Because if we're going to the offense and we're talking about who has the edge there, if I'm thinking about that, who I think actually has the edge is for the Bears offense versus the Rams defense. This Rams defense is not good. And I've said this before. If our running attack could not get it going against the Colts, I'm not going to pick the Bears run offense ever again. So because of that, I'm going to go with the Rams run defense, even though I think that the Bears will be running it more with Roschon Johnson. And that's something that I am excited for. I want to see Roschon. I want to see that out there because, like we've said, I just think that's the thing. So, the other piece too is the passing attack. I'm going to give it to our passing attack because Keenan coming back, and also this is a bad pass defense. I'm going to give it to the Bears passing offense. So 1-1. But if we go over to the defense, they haven't been able to run the ball. I think that we have a bounce back running game. If we don't, I might have to have a little bit more concerns about how we're defending the run, because we had a bad run defense game the first game, then we had a good run defense game the second game, then bad run defense game the third game, right? This is something that we talked about in the very early on sessions where we were saying, when we were breaking down the analytics, the Bears had one of the one of the hardest schedules when going against running backs, but one of the easiest schedules when going against quarterbacks. We need this run defense to be good. We need them to kind of step up. That's going to be the big piece. But then also, so I'm going to say that the Bears run defense takes care of them. And also, I'm going to go with the Bears passing defense because we should be able to stop them a little bit more. I think that this is a good defense. We're playing at home and we're playing against Stafford. So I'm excited for it. I think that the Bears have the edge in this game, but it goes down to the whole, like, well, what's going to happen? And you look at the line, the Bears right now are 3-point favorites, which I think is a little rich. Like, because how much confidence do we have that our Bears are going to win this game? Like realistically. And don't say, well, we lost and we have to win or anything like that. How much confidence do you have in this Bears team in winning? Because what we've seen for the past handful of weeks is not a great team. That's where I'm kind of like, I'm actually tempted to take the +3 with the Rams because I'm going, well, in a lot of other rankings, the Bears and Rams are kind of the same type of team, the same ranking of team, and they're giving them 3 points. And yeah, it's at home, but there's really less and less of home field advantage statistically. Home field advantage is less and less a thing than it was 10, 20 years ago. Why? I don't know, actually. I don't know, but that's something that in the betting world, they're starting to say the only team that really has a home field advantage is actually the Minnesota Vikings. Fun fact there. But that's the big piece. So to me, I actually don't really have like a best bet. I'm actually looking at Roschon Johnson, like when props of him kind of come out. I'm curious to see what Roschon, like what the yardage is or how many carries they have for Roschon, because that's one of the things I'm looking at. Otherwise, I think the +3 is actually a pretty good bet just because, you got the Rams. The Rams could easily take this and by 3 points, and it's probably not going to be a lot of scoring. So for sure, that's kind of where I'm at. But let's go over to the predictions. So let me know your predictions down in the comments. What do you think the final score is going to be? And also give me a bold prediction that you think is going to happen. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to read through some of y'all's comments. So yeah, let's see. J2K saying, I wonder if we are so deep on our side. Tori is punting for distance instead of placement. I've seen some of that too, where I heard some people say that he's out kicking the coverage a little bit, but still it's that like not being not being too impressed. Judah saying, Caleb, we won't need you much, Torrey. Torrey, yeah, right. Torrey has, I don't know if Torrey still has more yards than Caleb. That might have changed, but yeah, that was the stat for quite some time. But yeah, we're hoping it's there. Judah saying, so sad. The NFC is so open right now. Agreed. He said, we should actually be a top 5 NFC team, but our quarterback can't read defenses. He's a one read then panic quarterback. It's the whole offense. Like the offense is just gross. Like it really is. So that's the thing. Run Rojo, and J2K saying, run Rojo, get ball to Keenan and Kmet in the seams, get pressure on Stafford. Yeah, this could be a win. This really could be a win. And let's see, Taco Man saying, do you think all these pass attempts are to develop Caleb, or is that all we can do at the moment on offense? Great question, Taco Man. And the reason is, to me, I think that they are putting too much on Caleb because they have to, because the running game hasn't been there for them. And because they haven't been able to run the ball, you're getting kind of this like Mitch Trubisky-esque type of thing where, like, how many times when we had Matt Nagy, we're going, come on, like, we need the run game to get going. But every time they ran the ball, we're like, no, don't do that. Like, don't just get 1 yard. I think from seeing it, first off, last game, we were down by so much that they just had to start passing it more and more and more. But I feel like they're passing it more than they expected because the run game just isn't able to get going. But also, too, keep in mind that where Shane Waldron came from. He was a pass game coordinator for the Rams, pass game coordinator for the Rams, pass game coordinator, like always was focused on the passing game. So that's what he's always done. And I remember him coming over too. When we got Shane Waldron, Seahawks people were saying, he doesn't run the football. He doesn't run the football. And he doesn't run it enough. He doesn't run it enough. So he's biased towards throwing the football. But I feel ultimately the reason why he is throwing it so much is, for one, we've been down, unfortunately, but also because that's the only thing that kind of works. And yeah, it's kind of gross a lot of times, but the running game just hasn't been able to work. So great question. But let's see what else is out there. But yeah, we got some predictions. Bajent starts, says Judah. Bears 24, Rams 13. Caleb starts, Bears 13, Rams 27. So so you gave the 2. First, I thought, I was like, man, that's the boldest prediction anyone's given. But yeah, Judah, not a fan of Caleb right now. J2K saying bold prediction, sacks, and Stafford will question his life decisions after this game. Love it. And Taco Man with a 10-17 Bears victory. That's what he's going with. But yeah, like that's what we're having out there. Let me know more of your predictions. But yeah, I see also J2K saying Swift is a good back, but he needs blocking to get to that second level. Agreed. And I think that's the thing is, and I hate saying, like, I sound like a broken record. When we were watching the tape, but it's nice because everyone that was able to watch that saw what we were seeing. Swift, when he's in open field, you see the explosiveness. It's just it's the system, it's the connection, like everything has to go together. It just looks off when Swift is running under center or back there as the running back. So, but let's talk about my prediction. My prediction, man, I'm going to say it's a low scoring game. I'm going to say 20-17 Bears win. And I had a bold prediction, like literally pop into my head when I was thinking about X factors. Actually, yeah, I'm going to say Jack Sanborn gets a sack. And the reason why it's bold is he's only played like 9 snaps or like 15 snaps all season. I think he gets a sack because I think that we're going to dial up a blitz and I think he's going to come free. I'm going to go with a Jack Sanborn sack because I think we're going to be trying to rattle Stafford, try to get the ball out quick for him. I think ultimately that ends up happening. But all I can say, and I think we're all going to say this together, hopefully this offense can look better. That's all we can hope for. And this is the growing pains of having a rookie quarterback. What I want to see out of Caleb is I want to see less of those throws where it's 15 yards over someone's head and we go, okay, that's got to be a miscommunication of some sort, right? I want to see less of those miscommunications. I want to see less of those passes that are so far away that the wide receiver can't make a play on that. I want to see less of that this game because to me, those are the ones that frustrate me. Those are the ones that I see. I'm like, oh man, seriously, like you got to give Rome a chance. You got to give DJ a chance. And now with Keenan, you got to give your star receivers a chance to try and come down with the ball. But that's it. That's our show. So thank you all so much for watching. If you are out there on YouTube, hit the like button. It helps out the show tremendously. And also subscribe. We talk about cool bear stuff here. So also, and if you don't want to see my face out there on YouTube, you can always download the podcast everywhere that you get your podcast. Just search for Unbearable Sports and you can download it, listen to it on the go, and we'll keep you covered with all the Bears coverage that you want. And with that, have a great weekend, ladies and gentlemen. And Unbearable Sports Podcast, we are out.
Yeah, she's got some nice long hair and you know that she